Thank you for joining us for Chatting in the Void, a conversational podcast hosted by Cthulhu Tilly and Holic. So, what did you guys do this week?
I did not run over any squirrels during my learning of the driving.
That's good.
So
That's
that was
good.
nice. And I only got beeped up twice.
Hey,
I
that's
called
pretty
that a
good.
win.
That is a win.
Yes.
That's definitely a win.
That's not bad.
Great win.
I
Only
usually
two
beep at
thought
people.
that
So
they needed to yell at me.
What? Hey, when I was learning how to drive, I ran into a garage, so, small victories.
Medium-sized victories.
Oh my god. The car that I'm learning how to drive in, like the accelerator and the brake are like so sensitive. Like I barely tap them and they go fucking ham.
Right? Wow.
And not only that, but I can't feel them. So if I wear shoes,
Yeah.
I can't really feel them very well. And now every time I have to like go practice on that car, it's like an old sedan.
Right.
I have to like wear like sandals because otherwise I cannot even feel.
Not gonna lie, I know it's against the law, but I drive barefoot all the time.
Yeah, no, I could see why people do that.
I mean, I've driven barefoot, but it's so uncomfy.
I like it.
It feels wrong.
But that's
I
the thing.
think
Is
it's
I swapped
comfy.
to
But I wear super thin
I
shoes.
swapped to my mom's car to go to the store, and oh my god, that was a million times better.
Yeah.
So I asked my driver instructor if I could take that car to the driving lesson. They go, no, I'm gonna use whatever car they give me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Nice.
well, gotta learn with that one.
True.
Hopefully they let me do the test on sandals. I don't see why
Right.
they wouldn't though.
Yeah, I don't think they care about footwear during the test, other than that you should be wearing it. I don't think they are happy with no footwear. But I don't know.
Yeah, they don't want your foot fungus in the car. Gross.
True.
Hey, I use talc for that. I'll have you guys know. What is it called?
Talc.
Dry powder.
Talcum powder?
You could just use climbing chalk.
It's basically
Pretty
the
much.
same.
Hey, it's the same thing.
It is.
So one is marked up and the other isn't. So
That's true. And one is anti-lube. Yep. Anti-lube.
Yeah.
We love a little bit of
yeah.
anti-lube.
Yeah.
Spice up the sex life.
Some jackass keeps trying to get it in my eyes every time we go
Hey,
climbing.
you know what? It's good luck for me.
It's good luck my
It's good
ass.
luck for me. I didn't say it was good luck for you.
So what did you guys do this week? Oh.
What did I accomplish this week? I did work.
Me too.
I went to my job.
Uh-huh.
I designed things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The human.
I made this.
What is that?
It's a piece of a box that is going to have 4 sides like this, and one of them is going to open at a time. It'll make more sense when I have all 4 sides, but I've only printed one side. Oh, there it goes.
So it's a 3D printed envelope.
Oh, I
Yep.
want to get a 3D printer.
It's a 3D printed envelope. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And the kind I have, it's only like $100, so
Yeah.
it's an accessible
That's
hobby.
true.
If you have
That's
patience.
true. You must be patient.
I wanna get myself a 3D printer.
You
That
should.
shit looks so fun.
You should.
I know that they've become a lot more cheaper than what they used to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to support 3D printers at the school that I worked for. You know what?
cool.
I'm actually pretty happy that the dick butt changed.
Man, instantly called out.
Dick butt cancelled.
Dick butt
Instantly
canceled.
called out.
Yeah, you can't hide from me. I observe things. Anyways, I really didn't do very much this week. I worked and then I went rock climbing. That was fun. I had a migraine
Man,
on Monday.
living the American dream over here.
Yeah, I had a migraine on Monday,
work,
so
And migraines, love it.
I did absolutely nothing on Monday. I literally just laid in bed all day, and then I got up out of bed and did stuff on Tuesday, and then worked like 40 hours. And then got up at 4 and went rock climbing.
So, question: have any of you heard about the new Diablo mobile game that came out this week?
No.
No?
I've heard
what
about
about
it.
you, Ender?
No, I don't pay attention to mobile games.
I've heard about it.
Well,
But I've mostly heard about it because Asmongold's second Twitch account got banned for hate speech because somebody just in the game chat said some not good things, and then his whole secondary Twitch channel got banned. Yeah.
nope.
Right.
Not even in the Twitch chat, in the game chat. So,
Well, he needs to be more careful about that stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, who you invited to your parties when you're streaming?
Well,
No.
that's the thing. It was just a
Your
random
channel the other
person.
day.
It wasn't like a team member or anything like that.
And just someone in
Just
all
somebody in
chat.
global chat.
Oh, what the hell? That sounds
Get wrecked.
a little
Yeah.
sus.
So he got banned for somebody in all chat. And they even like the bad word that they said, which is obviously it's the big one. It's the racial slur. They avoided the chat censor by putting a period between every letter. So like there's even a chat censor in the game to prevent things like this from happening, but the person avoided it, and Asmongold still got banned. So
I'm sure it's just like a
Nice.
couple days ban or something.
it's
like that.
it's
Maybe, I don't
24
know.
hours, but I mean, Asmongold is a Twitch streamer with like, I think he had like 24,000 subscribers or something like that at one point. I don't know. He's crazy big. So he's like one of the big ones.
Yeah, I know.
He's a WoW
Absolutely.
streamer, so.
Yeah, he exploded during the WoW Classic thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also the reaction videos that he did. He's like the what's the word I'm looking for? He's like the PewDiePie of Twitch
Yeah.
in this decade.
Yeah. I would say so.
Nuts. The man went from being like he's some old guy raiding World of Warcraft
Right.
in Twitch to like the biggest fucking Twitch streamer the world has ever seen. Like
Yeah.
what the hell?
Yeah.
People need to relax.
WoW is big though. Have
It
you
is
ever
big. It
have
is
you ever
big.
played WoW, Ender?
Oh, absolutely. Oh.
I know you have.
I haven't.
We've talked about WoW on stream before.
I don't think I have the mental capacity to pick up a game that people take that seriously.
Same.
Well, it's changed a lot. You should try it.
WoW intimidates
Yeah.
me.
It shouldn't.
That's for high-class nerds. I'm a basic bitch
Yeah.
nerd.
It really shouldn't intimidate you anymore.
I only play D&D 5e.
I personally think D&D is more complicated and difficult to get into than World of Warcraft now. It is not that hard to play.
That's probably
When it
fair.
comes to, like basic Enders, he just gets like the pumpkin spice latte. His Starbucks order is not like 5 minutes long.
Hey,
He's a very basic
Fuck
white
you.
bitch gamer,
Yikes.
I drink chai tea, thank you
So
very
do I.
much.
Which is honestly probably even more basic white bitch now, which is really unfortunate.
Hey.
Well, just to let you guys know, at the end of Wrath of the Lich King and start of Cataclysm, which are the World of Warcraft expansions that came out like in 2014, around that time, and before. What they did is that they for the first time in WoW history, Blizzard had a big dip in subscriber count for
Right.
the game.
Right.
And it had to do with the difficulty of the game. At the end of Wrath of the Lich King, especially at the start of Cataclysm, it was very, very, very difficult to play the game.
Mhm.
Like, you would level up, you hit max level, right? And even that was such a fucking chore.
Mhm.
But you would do it because that's the fun of the new expansion.
Mhm.
And then you would do normal dungeons until you reached a certain amount of power with your items. We call it item level.
Mhm.
Then you could queue for heroic dungeons. And bro,
Wow.
let me tell you, heroic dungeons where dungeons in general were to be like the casual thing that you do with your friends and you just run through it, right? Get some loot to get ready for the raids. But in Cataclysm, that changed. Heroic dungeons, which is like the max level dungeons of the time, became fucking incredibly difficult. I remember with my friends on my guild, we would queue in, but we wouldn't have like we would be missing one person, right? We would be queuing as 4 instead of 5. And we would get some random person, and that person, we would go pull the boss, wipe, pull the boss again, wipe again, pull the boss again, wipe again. And we're talking about a dungeon boss. And then the pub would just leave. They would like, quit. And then we get another one. He'd go in, he would see the boss that we're at, and he was like, quit. We're gonna wait another 2 minutes to get another. Guy comes in, somehow manages to die on the way to the boss, and quits. And then we gotta wait for another one. So
that sucks.
It was I fucking enjoyed it. It was so fun playing the heroic dungeons when Cataclysm first came out. But the problem is, for the casual audience, the people that play maybe 2-3 hours a day after work, trying to relax.
Yeah, so people like Ember and myself,
Yeah, those people, you will log in, you hit max level, and then you were faced with 2 choices. After doing your dailies, which takes like 20 minutes or so, you had 2 choices.
Right.
PvP, which is not everyone's cup of tea,
nope.
Or dungeons. So you were basically fucked. If you weren't very good at the game, and you didn't have especially if you didn't have a team, my god, I couldn't even imagine if you had to like completely go public mode on your party.
Right.
Like you couldn't do anything. You couldn't fucking do anything. You were stuck. So people were like, okay, I'm out. They unsubscribed. So ever since that time, that era in World of Warcraft, Blizzard made a big effort into making sure that everybody has something to do.
Right.
And that the dungeons would never be as difficult as they were during that time. Because, sure, every expansion in every MMO always has like that one dungeon that everybody dreads because the boss has like some crazy mechanic that nobody can do, right?
Right.
I'm exaggerating here, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But see, when Cataclysm came out, every dungeon was that dungeon. Everyone. Right. Every freaking dungeon was like that. And if you were a raider, you had to go through that shit because you needed the heroic gear to get into raids. So that was even more difficult because when raids finally started to become available to the player base, only the people who stuck around and played 8 hours a day could get in and get anything done. So it was such a pain in the ass for everybody. But I enjoyed it because I was up there in the top 1% raiding guilds, just having fun. But I could definitely see why a lot of people would quit the game, being faced with that massive brick wall of difficulty. But again, my whole point on all of this is Blizzard did a lot to make sure that the casual audience has a good time playing. So now I came back to the game 3 expansions later, 2-3 years ago, and I had a blast because I didn't have a raiding guild. I didn't have anybody to play with. I was just a random guy, just strolling around, having fun, and it was a great time. To be honest, everybody should try playing World of Warcraft at least once, especially now, because it's just fun. It's just fun. But now I think after playing World of Warcraft for as long as I have, I'm you know what, $60 for the expansion, that's a little bit too much plus the subscription. And I know that I'm only going to play a couple weeks maybe and then I'm going to quit. That doesn't seem worth it to me. I'd rather just do something else with that money. But if I was a player who had never played World of Warcraft, that happens to be intimidated by all that big, scary, hardcore MMOs, it's not that anymore. Absolutely, it's not. If anything, most of the people playing are now casual people who are just there for either the pets, the mounts, the achievements, the fashion.
Right. Interesting.
My problem with games like that is that I'm way too competitive and I want to win, but I can't do that in a game where to stay competitive it's basically a 9-to-5 job to grind.
Yeah. I I agree. I think that one of my problems is that it does definitely feel like it's very challenging to level up in a game like that and stay relevant, I guess. And I don't know. It doesn't feel like a game that would be very fun to play solo player for me either. And I probably couldn't find people who would want to stay the same like level as me type thing. So yeah, I've played a couple of games like that, where it's like, I think it like Guild Wars 2 and I think Blade and Soul are kind of WoW-esque sometimes in mechanics. I mean, they're just, MMORPG style big games. Have you ever played Blade and Soul or Guild Wars, Hollick?
I played the living shit out of Blade and Soul.
Okay.
Absolutely, yes. I've
never heard of Blade and Soul.
When that game released on the US, I was all over it, man. Bro, not only that, but I was in the raiding guild that downed the first boss, and I was top 10 of my class in PvP. So I was all over that game, man. Loved it.
I didn't play. I played a little bit of Blade and Soul and a little bit of Tera and a little bit of Guild Wars. Those are kind of the main MMORPGs that I've played. So
I've tried Tera and Guild Wars, not Guild Wars 2, but the first Guild Wars.
Yeah.
I didn't like it that much because at the time where those games came out, I was either playing World of Warcraft or Blade and Soul.
Yeah.
So,
I don't remember very much.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like probably Guild Wars was my favorite of those three. But I played a lot more Tera because I had more people who wanted to play Tera. So.
Yeah, I loved Tera. The problem was we all had to play together, otherwise the level disparity factor.
Yeah, otherwise I would be like way far ahead of everyone or way far behind everyone. I think that was the biggest problem, is that
if it weren't for that issue, I don't think I ever would have stopped playing.
Yeah, you had to stay in a party and all play at the same time. Yeah, I feel like that might be a game that we could get some people to play now, because now we all we have more games and it's not like we tunnel one game so much anymore. So maybe we could do that again. But yeah. Have you heard of V Rising, Hollick?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I started playing that today.
Opinion on it?
Really?
Any opinion on it, Hollick?
Oh,
me?
Yeah.
No, I have not played it. I have heard of it.
Okay.
Not played it, though.
What do you think of it so far, Ender?
It's a lot of fun. Pretty simple. The combat's kind of satisfying, and I mean, it's interesting. I'm not super far into it yet. I played for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
What kind of game is this? Is it an ARPG?
I think so.
It's kind of like... It's... if you mash together, like, Valheim and vampires...
Oh, it's one of those.
And Minecraft.
No. I don't like that. Oh well.
The top-down
I love
is
Minecraft,
interesting.
but I didn't like Valheim that much.
Mm.
No,
it's a similar vibe of you wander around killing shit and upgrading your base.
I personally think Valheim is a good game, but I still think it's an overrated game. For the insane amount of attention that it got, I don't think the quality matched the amount of attention that it had for in game wise, is what I'm trying to say. But
I think it'll be super interesting when it's finished.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like that's the new hot thing for the game developers to be doing in the last decade or so, is having a half-baked product and releasing it and then monetizing the shit out of it and then never finishing it.
If it works.
Now, to be fair, I think they're trying to combat the buzz die Because the moment that their game blows up, if they don't release when their game blows up, then when they do release, they get no players.
I don't think that's true.
No, it is.
No. In the sense that when the game gets as big as Valheim got, I don't think that applies to it anymore.
It only got that big because they released when they had buzz. I can name a dozen games.
Yeah, nobody talks about Valheim anymore. Nobody cares about Valheim
I can name
anymore.
a dozen games that are like Valheim that are just as good now, that were just as sketchy in beta, but they didn't release when they were in beta, even though they had buzz around them, and they only released in alpha, and then they died.
But not to the degree that Valheim got at the end of the day. Because it's just not the, we're not talking about the same.
To be fair, Valheim was only $20. So.
Yeah, most of them were only $20.
It's not the same. It's not the same weight class.
Oh, okay.
Well, like it's not the same. It's not the same weight class because Valheim released at the right time. That's the whole thing. Valheim was small and got big after they released a sketchy beta. They weren't big until
and they're
after
still consistently updating it. There was a big update like last month.
But what I'm saying is, like, there are a bunch of games similar to Valheim that exist on itch.io for free that are the same level of sketchy right now, but they're not going to release on Steam, and they're not going to try to drum up buzz because they want a fully farmed product, and those games die because they never get buzz. And even when they do get buzz, they don't release when they have buzz. They don't get an actual build to give to people when they have buzz. And then the result of that is when they are ready to release the game, the buzz is already gone. There's nobody talking about their game anymore. And then they have Valheim's playership, what it is now, only at launch. And then it never grows to the point where Valheim grew, right? Because that's the thing is...
Well, if it's...
Because the thing is, like, Valheim was released, right? Because they started advertising a little bit and then immediately got this huge push of buzz. And that's when they released the game. They released the game when they had a really high amount of people talking about them. And that's the only reason that they were able to get as big as they were in the first place. And I know a lot of game developers, I mean, like a big one, like even a AAA title would be, not Red Dead Redemption, but by CD Projekt Red.
I know what you're talking about. Cyberpunk?
Yeah, Cyberpunk 2022 or whatever it was. I can't even remember. Anyways, Cyberpunk, they had that huge buzz and they didn't release. And the funny thing is that when they released, now obviously it's a AAA title, so they had a lot of viewership, but it was way under what they estimated they would have in terms of player base. And it wasn't just because the game was buggy, because we already know that's not true, because Valheim was buggy and it had a huge player base. So they didn't get their estimated player base because they released too late. And by the time that they released Cyberpunk, a lot of people were already like, that's last year's game. Nobody's talking about that game anymore, so they never played it.
No, I think it's two different, very, very different cases here. You're talking about a AAA game that's been in development hell since 2010.
Yeah.
That's gone through multiple directors, multiple creative staff, multiple delays and reworks, even multiple engines.
Yeah.
Compared to Valheim, which that is an indie game made by a handful of people,
right?
Just trying to enjoy what they do.
But the principle still applies in the essence of, if they had released, it wouldn't have been good for them. And that's the thing; it wouldn't have been good for them because they didn't have a fully baked product. They didn't have something to sell. But if they had released, if Cyberpunk had released when they had a bunch of people talking about them, they would have had double the player base. They would have double the player base playing a game that's not good. And that's what they wanted to avoid. That's why they delayed development so long, is because they didn't want to release a game that people were just going to shit on, which is then what they did anyways.
Not only that, but like Valheim, here's a big difference, I think, too, is that Valheim was playable. Like, it was buggy. Yeah. Sure, but it's an indie title. Every indie title has their bugs, their jank, and whatnot.
I think you're missing what I'm saying.
Well, what I'm trying to get to is that, when Cyberpunk did release, there were people that you straight up could not play, even with the recommended hardware.
Correct.
So it's a product that was sold to them that did not work as intended.
Correct.
And that's different from like Valheim being buggy compared to your PlayStation just not being able to even launch the game to begin with, even though you already paid 3 times the amount for what you would have paid for in terms of Valheim. But see, the thing is, Cyberpunk also had buzz for a long time. It's not like they had buzz one time and then they tried to rush development and release it. Like
though,
but they had
like a huge peak. They had a huge peak, and they ignored it.
The huge.
They didn't
the
release.
Biggest peak that they had. The biggest peak that they had was when they released the E3 trailer back in like 2012.
Exactly.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
But of course the game wasn't ready then. They were just like, oh, this is just an announcement, we're working on this. But that's when they had the most hype.
Yeah.
Then they started releasing.
And if they'd released
6 years later.
Yeah, if they'd released the game in 2013, they would have had double the player base. But they didn't have a game to release in 2013. And that was the problem. Yeah. And that's why they didn't release in 2013. Because originally, I think that was the plan. That they were like, we're close, so we're going to make this trailer.
No. That trailer, first of all, that trailer didn't use the game engine. So that's a big, like they use CGI on that trailer. Yeah. And I'm sure you've seen it, you've just forgotten about what the trailer looks like.
I don't remember, no. I wasn't even, you have to remember,
it was
in 2010, I wasn't so even gaming. That was 12 years ago.
It took over the internet. The trailer was so fucking sick, and even today it's fucking sick. But it was CGI, meaning that they didn't have anything to show in terms of gameplay, engine, graphics, anything. So when companies do that, when AAA companies do that, it's just an announcement trailer to show, hey guys, this is the project that we're working on. Expect it in the next handful of years, right? Yeah. Especially when they release it on E3. Out of all places. Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, if they'd released maybe 2013, 2014, a handful of years, 2-3 years, they would have had a huge player base. Huge. It wouldn't have been a good game, and it would have failed because it wouldn't have been a good game, but they would have made a ton of money. But instead, they chose to wait. They chose to wait until they had a good game, or at least a game to release, and then they released it, and they had to release it half-baked anyways. They had to release it in a very buggy state anyways, because they were afraid, and they were getting to the point where it was like, it's been so long that when we release the game, we're not going to have any player base. And then that happened anyways, because they released a game that wasn't good. They released a game that wasn't ready. And they were trying to avoid that to begin with, but then they couldn't wait any longer because they would have just not had people to play the game. People just wouldn't have bought it, even though it was a AAA title, because it's been in development for 10 years. Nobody cares anymore. And so, yeah, that's what I'm saying is like they have to release. No,
people did care though.
Yeah,
people did care. But when they finally started releasing trailers with the actual in-game engine on, the people were super hyped. I remember, man. There was everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And then that started to die. And when that started to die, that's when they released the game. That's what I'm saying. But even that peak in people talking about Cyberpunk right after they released gameplay trailer, right? Even that was not as high as their original peak viewership, especially in terms of statistics of how many games there are out there and who is playing them right now. And so it's like there are more people on the internet right now, but they had way lower responses than they were expecting. And then they had way lower playership than they were expecting, even with all of the bugs. And so, yeah. At some point, they just keep hyping it up forever. Otherwise, you end up with Star Citizen.
Of course. That's its own beast of its own.
That's mean.
Yeah,
I'm sure at least 3 people play Star Citizen.
Yeah.
Will play. I don't know.
Yeah, the developer and their mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, how did you start becoming a gamer, Thule? And then Ender.
So I started becoming a gamer, I guess. So this goes back. I played a couple of games in childhood with my brothers. We had an N64. And so we played Smash Bros.
What a great console.
Yeah. We played Smash Bros. 64, and we played Diddy Kong Racing. Those are the two games that we really played. And we had a couple other games, but we didn't really play them. I think we also played a bunch of 007. I think it was GoldenEye.
Okay.
Which was a really good game.
So you played like you played in that console era. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what about you, Ender?
I started. Well, my first ever video game was like a Pokemon on the Game Boy Advance.
Which one? Hold on. What genre are we talking about?
My first Pokemon game was Crystal. That crinkling was loud as hell.
Yes.
I'll edit it out.
Yeah, Pokemon Crystal. It was my start to my gaming career. And it was before I could really read super well, so I think the first year of me gaming was me just playing the beginning of the game over and over and never realizing when I had to save the game to continue playing the game when I turned the game off.
Nice. Okay, and then what did you do afterwards then? Or did you just stick to the handheld until you
when I was like 13, my dad gave me his Steam account and it had Portal on it, and then I was hooked forever.
Nice. Well, that's as good as a hook.
Then I discovered Portal Knights and made my own Steam account so I could play Portal Knights, and now I have almost 200 Steam games. So,
Gotcha.
Casual gamer.
Yeah.
So for me, it was the first-person shooter, but we're not talking about just like Call of Duty and Halo and stuff like that. Because I did start with those, but the big ones for me was Counter-Strike and Half-Life. So those were the big games. Then eventually I started, going into like one of the more obscure but like cool classic first-person shooters like Painkiller, Doom, Quake, and then eventually started going into like the Call of Duties back when they were about World War II and stuff like that. So, and the reason I'm talking about this is because E3 was cancelled, but a lot of video game publishing companies have been putting up a show kind of like E3, where they are talking about the announcements that are coming up, and there's a huge amounts of like classic first-person shooters coming back. Games that are kind of like that. You guys saw the game that was like a first-person shooter, right? But you had to shoot and reload to the beat of metal music, beats per minute.
No.
Have you guys heard of that game? Oh, well, that game was kind of like, it was a little bit before Valheim, and it also started like, it didn't get as hyped as Valheim did, but it did catch a lot of attention for a little bit. And ever since then, this just keeps a lot more like classic shooters keep coming out. And the big one that I'm super, super hyped about, that I've been following for forever now, is called Witchfire. And I love just that game. The moment I saw the trailer, I fell in love with that game because it looks just like Painkiller, but more serious, less goofy, and better graphics. And I cannot wait to get my hands on that game. It's not kind of like Doom. It's more... Doom is more sci-fi, right? Doom is sci-fi. We're talking about Space Marine kind of guy running around with rocket launchers and lasers and the BFG and stuff like that. I would compare it more to Painkiller, where Painkiller is more gritty, it's more fantasy. You're not fighting, demons with lasers. You're fighting skeletons, necromancers, on the undead in general, monsters and stuff like that. And you're doing so with stake guns. You're doing it with a chainsaw. You're doing it with like, a shuriken gun, stuff like that.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but did you say stake gun? As in a gun that fires like a fucking prime rib? Because that's hilarious.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about like a big fucking stake that you would use to fucking pierce a vampire's heart kind of stake. But Yeah, that did get me hungry, and I love that that type of art style, that type of the type of gameplay. Like, I cannot wait, man. There's so many cool first-person shooters that are coming out for those like classic FPS lovers. I mean, in 2016 we got Doom 2016, right? That shit. Oh my god, still one of my favorite games of all time. But now that was it, right? We only had that game, and then we had to wait until one. But this year, man, they are announcing so many cool first-person shooters I cannot get my hands off. I don't like Gears of War. As somebody in chat just mentioned Gears of War. I don't like Gears of War because 1, it's third-person point of view. 2, it's low as hell. 3, it's cover combat. And 4, it's just not that fun.
Do you know
I think it's overrated.
why Witchfire looks like Painkiller?
Because they're, I don't know. Tell me.
I will tell you.
Tell me.
So, the Witchfire is being developed by the Astronauts. They also did The Vanishing of Ethan Carter in 2014, which is a really good game if nobody's ever played it. It's a very interesting exploration game, really cool kind of mystery game. Well, the Astronauts are 3 ex-employees of People Can Fly, which is the development studio that was in charge of Painkiller, Gears of War, Duty Calls, Bulletstorm, and actually they did they helped with Fortnite as well as Outriders. So they have development credits for Fortnite and Outriders. Specifically, they co-developed Save the World. They co-developed Fortnite Save the World, and then they were the main developers for Outriders in 2021. So,
yeah, they've been around the block.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, they left. They would have left at the end of the development cycle for probably Gears of War Judgment. Then, if they started, because it looks like they released The Vanishing of Ethan Carter in 2014. And so the Astronauts probably founded shortly after People Can Fly released Gears of War Judgment. So, yeah. But, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so they probably worked on Painkiller.
Do you have a game that is like that? Like a type of game, a category of game that's like your childhood game that you always like? If you see a game that's about to be released like that, you just have to buy it?
It has to be Pokemon style games, like where you're collecting things. It's turn-based.
New Pokemon, like kind of like game came out that is not Pokemon, that is very successful.
Yeah, it starts with a T.
T something. Yeah. I forget the name. Have you heard of that one?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Temtem.
What's Temtem?
Nothing has rekindled my original love for Pokemon Crystal ever since I was a child.
Temtem, right? That's what it is. Yeah.
Never heard of that.
Bro, then you have to play this game called Temtem. I know a lot of
Temtem.
A lot of let me see if that's how you spell it.
Name is that?
It's TEMTM, by the way. For those
Temtem.
TEMTM.
Yep.
Temtem. TEMTEM. Yeah. Temtem. Check that game out because I keep hearing good things about this game.
Ever since $41.
What?
It's $41.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Look, all I'm saying is that a lot of like the criticism that Pokemon gets nowadays, that they haven't like redone the formula on Pokemon, they haven't iterated on design in 20 something years. You know, it really has stagnated Pokemon games, which is why I don't really play them anymore.
The next two look like they're going to be kind of cool. Maybe, though. To be fair, Arceus looked like it was going to be really fucking cool, and it's kind of okay.
On. What I'm trying to get to is part of the reason I'm trying to get to this is: do you know why Pokemon feels pressure to change their design after 20 years? It's because
everyone who loves it is 20 years older than when they were a child.
No, that didn't stop it. It's because Temtem is coming into the fucking gaming sphere here and soaking up all the fucking old school Pokemon players that are tired of Nintendo. Not Nintendo, you know. Whoever publishes Pokemon.
It's Nintendo.
Game Freak.
Yeah. Game Freak.
A company that never changes anything.
Yeah, they're tired of them just living in fucking 1999, and they're like, all those people that are tired with Pokemon being the same game for 20 years have moved to Temtem, and they know that. They absolutely know that, and that's why I'll
have to try it then.
They're trying to change things up. So if you're a big Pokemon fan, try it. Give it a shot.
Hey, the best Pokemon games were the Mystery Dungeon games. To be fair,
don't even buy those. Don't even buy Temtem. Go watch some gameplay on YouTube.
I saw a meme earlier today that was it's that games change people meme, right? And it was Pokemon Mystery Dungeon turned me into a furry. It didn't, but
oh no!
I almost sent it to you, Ender, because I know how much you love those games.
The first one specifically, Red Rescue Team. That's the only one I've actually finished. Yeah. I've tried all the other ones, but nothing ever lived up to the original.
The Switch one was pretty fun, but I don't know.
It was a remake of the original. That's why it was fun. It was identical to the original, just better graphics.
It was pretty good, but I don't know. It's not my fave. I don't really have a childhood game. I guess giant tarps. Nah.
Playing with rocks and sticks.
I think the Smash Bros games, if I had one, but probably not even that, because it's not really nostalgic, and also like 64 and Melee are probably the two best ones, and I've played some others, but I don't think anything really captures the magic as much as 64 and Melee do for me.
Yeah.
I think Brawl and Ultimate are good, but they're just not as fun. And playing versus like trying to get on,
you can emulate. You can emulate Melee now on the PC.
Yeah, you can emulate Melee. But
playing it earlier.
But and playing like you can play Melee as well, like multiplayer still. There are emulators that allow you to do that. But it's really toxic community because it's a Smash community, and the Smash community is notoriously toxic. So
no one ever lets me play with items turned on.
Yeah, that's part of it too. Is like I want to play crazy, wacky, weird shit,
fun,
and nobody wants to in that community.
No, man, you gotta.
I want to hit you with a hammer.
You can only move with wave dash, and if you don't, you're fucking trash.
Exactly.
Get out of here.
Exactly.
You don't belong here.
Exactly. But
tryhards ruin video games.
I'm proud that I can smack the ass out of a fucking Silver Falco with Samus, and I've been told that's kind of good, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I like playing Pac-Man in the new Smash Bros. Game.
I hate you.
Oh, nom nom nom. I think Pac-Man's cool. That's the most nostalgic game for me. Miss Pac-Man is my game. Oh, that is the game I have played more than any other game in the world. If I could get my hands on a Miss Pac-Man cabinet, I would do it in a heartbeat.
My uncle used to work on game cabinets. Yeah, you can also buy them on eBay. Or you know what? You can make it on your own. You can make it on your own.
That's true. I found a place I can buy a replica.
Don't buy a replica.
Built.
Just make it yourself, man.
It's like $5,000. I'm like, I can't afford that.
No, they're not $5,000. My uncle used to work on these cabinets. He used to sell them too. On eBay and on the internet. He's
like refurbished old ones are expensive as hell.
They are, but trust me, you don't
because they're all broken.
You just have to make your own cabinet, man. There's like kits for it too, I bet, by now.
I can help. I'm good with woodworking.
My problem is that any remakes of the cabinets, the joystick feels different, and it's like, oh, it's not the same.
Well, you gotta compromise. Yeah. Of course, you don't have a time machine, right? So you're not gonna go back to 1990 fucking whatever.
I have a solution.
I wish I could.
Go now. Go nab one of those.
If you can find me an OG,
maybe buy some
joystick.
Apple stock too on the way there.
Yeah, and then we just create a. We can plug in a let's see here. Going to run the emulator on a Raspberry Pi, and then find some way to connect the old controller up to some kind of interface to pass the inputs in, I'd imagine that probably wouldn't be too hard with those old stuff. There's a lot of documentation on how they were designed, so.
There was, yeah.
Yeah, it's totally within my ability. I'm just lazy.
Yeah, my uncle had a cabinet where instead of putting coins, he would just push the button. And that's so fun because that was like his cabinet. For him to play, he would have it downstairs. And I would just play there all the time until like 5 a.m. in the morning. Because obviously these games, they were tough, man. They were meant to like take quarters out of you.
Yeah.
But I was just continue. It was like, yeah, push a button and then infinite lives and I could just play forever. You know? And it was great. Oh my god, I played all sorts of games. You know the bullet hell games where you have like the little spaceship? Kind of like Galaga, but like not Galaga, but like, you know, give it like 5 years in the future kind of game.
Yeah.
Where it has like more like a Street Fighter kind of look. I played all of those games. I don't remember a single one of the names, but I played all of that stuff. That's one of my favorite cabinet games. Is the bullet hell ones. And Metal Slug. Oh, Metal Slug is so good.
See,
I even got Metal Slug on the PlayStation.
I never played retro games. I never did that because I never had the opportunity. Like, I just played Smash and Diddy Kong Racing, and that was like the only games that I played is when I was a kid. So
we need to take you to one of these arcades, one of these like few arcades.
We need to go to a Dave and Buster's and see what new arcade games are like. I haven't been.
That
in
actually sounds
a
really
long
interesting.
time. I'm sure they're all garbage now.
There might be.
What's that?
Or they'll be great. I don't know.
You know,
some newish arcades, for kids at least, are literally mobile games blown up onto giant screens.
That's the worst.
Which is the dumbest thing. Oh, yeah, here, pay me $4 to play one round of Flappy Bird.
Well,
no.
What?
Yeah. That's not really a joke. I can show you. There's a bowling alley near us. It's literally, there's a giant Flappy Bird that's like $4 a play.
I wonder if they were able to up the price after Flappy Birds got removed from the App Store.
That wouldn't surprise me. And it's not even like a straight clone. It's different. The bird's wearing a helmet.
Yeah, they have to make it legally distinct. Is the word.
Yeah.
Legally distinct. Yeah, the background has more flowers.
Yeah. And this is not green or blue, it's turquoise.
Yeah.
Skybox. So
exactly.
Yeah.
You can't sue us.
Jesus.
Freaking. Yeah. Man. Oh, now I want to get myself a cabinet. I shouldn't though. I can just emulate it instead in my PC.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the feel of the cabinet. It's about the aesthetic.
The aesthetic, the feel, it is.
It's about
the game being on the start menu, just like, trying to call out the kids to come play with it.
Yeah.
Having the demo play and it's different. It is an aesthetic for sure.
So you don't.
That's why they are.
You don't like Ready Player One?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like we had a conversation about it where you thought it was like kind of meh.
I thought the movie
it is kind of meh.
Oh, okay.
I thought the movie was meh, yeah.
The book's mildly interesting, but it's way too much pandering.
Yeah, that's true.
Personally, if the writing...
It's just a nerd circle jerk.
Kind of is, yeah.
Exactly. It's like they take the nerd culture and they like overblow it. They glorify it in such a cringe way.
Right.
It feels like whoever... The writer was not even that big of a nerd himself. Instead, he like kind of like Google... Popular means 2006 and fucking put it in there.
Yeah.
Put him in there in the book instead of actually experiencing that culture himself. That's what it felt like. So it was horrible. Even then, like, sure, I was watching Ready Player One, but I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna let this is probably Hollywood, being cringe about the nerd culture again. So I'm just gonna let that slide and see if the movie is any fun. Aside from that, no, it really wasn't.
It's American Sword Art Online.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
It
really is.
And what's funny about
interesting, but it sucks.
I almost enjoy it because I have no idea what nerd culture back then was like, because I wasn't even like in the 2000s and in the 90s. Obviously, like I was not playing games at all. I was not even interested in it. So it's almost like it's so different for me that I view the book as like an entirely different world, because I've never experienced anything like that, and I never took it as that's what it was actually like, because to me it's, you know, just fiction. But I did think that it was interesting. I thought that the plot was interesting, but I can totally see what you're coming from.
Like I could see why people think that it's an interesting plot from an outside point of view, but somebody who actually lived through that kind of culture, who actually went to the arcades, went to the cyber cafe, sat down, played Dota, Counter-Strike, Warcraft, whatever,
right?
You know, StarCraft. Somebody who like actually knows where all these references are coming from. I can't help but feel like, no, this man, whoever was writing this, it didn't feel like he actually lived through any of this.
I can totally see that. I just don't. I didn't have that perspective when I first read the book, because I didn't know about the culture. And I've had people say that to me, so, you know, it's like, well, it doesn't really do justice to the real culture at the time. And I was like, yeah, it's fair. I enjoy it for what it is.
It really, really doesn't. If you want to see kind of like what arcade culture was like back in the day, there was an anime that came out last year about two kids. We're talking about like two 13-year-old kids who start getting into like fights in actual cabinets, and they release about that culture, as well, the arcade culture of the 2000s. Hold on. Arcade.
Okay, is this, man, there was an anime that was released that's like a love story between,
it was a slice of life.
Slice of life love story between two arcade nerds.
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about? Okay, I did watch that one, and I thought it was kind of cool, but I also didn't, like, once again...
It's a Netflix show.
Yeah, all the references went over my head, because Street Fighter. I never played that. Any of them.
Yep, you got it.
Yeah, because it's all about...
But that's a little bit more accurate and down to earth, kind of like...
Yeah.
Why would you need to play Street Fighter when you could just fight in the street?
That would have been my perspective at the time. Yeah, why play Street Fighter when I can just go actually beat somebody up?
That would be such a great way of getting your mom to give you $5 to go to the arcade.
Yeah.
Mom, can I go to the arcade and play Street Fighter? No, you don't get to play video games. All right, I'll just go to the street and actually fight people. Okay, son, here you go, $5.
That wouldn't have worked on my mom.
I'm going to go beat up other children for entertainment.
Yeah, I don't get any game references. Yeah. That's one of the biggest problems that I have, is like, I do not get game references, because they all go over my head every single time. So like in those movies, in the books where it's like referencing stuff, I'm like, I don't know, because I never played Street Fighter, I never played WoW, I never played any of those arcade games. I never even played the early 90s games. The only thing that I played up until like the age of like 15, 16 would have been like Smash Bros. 64 and Smash Bros. Melee and Diddy Kong Racing. That would have been it. And like sometimes like the Lego Star Wars games or something like that. But like that was it. That was everything that I played. And so, yeah.
I will let you know, when I was playing Smash, I was that Kirby player. That's all I would ever play.
Yeah.
Same.
So was my older brother.
Yeah.
Kirby down smash.
And guess what?
Spam.
And guess what?
That's how you play Smash Bros.
Yeah, guess what I can do? I can beat you guys as Kirby, because that's what my brother did.
That's not surprising. It's not a good strategy.
Yeah.
No, not really.
And so that's what me and my brothers always played. But also, a great counter to that is playing Samus. Kirby down smashes you just roll left and then grab. By the time they're on the ground, if they don't cancel, you get a free grab. But now Kirby players in Ultimate are even more toxic, because they just jump attack and that's all they do, and they just spam that shit. It's really fucking annoying.
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Up air.
I was considering getting a Switch to play Ultimate, but it was either a Switch or the VR headset.
Yeah, I remember. And you became a VR chat nerd instead.
It was worth it.
I want to get a VR headset so badly.
I wouldn't be standing here right now if I hadn't made that decision.
That is true.
You wouldn't have played VR chat. I wouldn't have met Kate, and then I would have met Tony.
Met me. Yeah. Which is funny because I haven't been on VR chat in like 6 months, and I'm okay with that.
Me neither, man. I haven't been in VR chat since like the New Year's kind of like nonsense.
I haven't been on VR chat since February, so it's only been like 4 months.
It's like I remember now. I quit when the Quest 2 came out, and then all the kids got it for Christmas. I'm like, okay, I'm out. I logged in the after Christmas morning just to see just how bad could it really. It was fucking bad. It was horrible.
So I just never went to public lobbies. I only hung out with people I knew.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like, okay, I took a break for like a month, not a month, like a week, and I thought to myself, okay, maybe I'll stop playing for a little bit until this hype dies down, and then suddenly it's been 6 months and I haven't played VR chat.
Yeah, makes sense. But yeah,
now I'm waiting just for the next generation of headset, and maybe I'll buy that.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Apparently,
I really hope VR games actually take off.
VR games, they will.
What's that?
They will. The Fizzbones is.
It just seems like the hype has kind of died down around them.
The hype did die down around them because people were going crazy with the development cycles. So you gotta understand, when somebody sits down and decides to make a VR game, they have to announce it in such a way that it coincides with new VR gear coming out. Yeah. So just before the Quest 2 came out, there was a lot of hype about about that. So there were a lot of people who were trying to coincide their VR game to be available when the new thing releases. So now that it's released, now we're gonna go into the slow cycle of things again, until some company, either Oculus or whatever, decides to make a new version of the headset, and then you're gonna start hearing about all these other VR games that are being worked on right now, but people are just keeping quiet until some buzz for new hardware comes out.
I see.
And you gotta understand too, the Quest 2 was huge in terms of like how accessible it made VR for people.
Yeah.
Right? So the next headset's gonna be even cheaper and more powerful and more accessible than the Quest 2. And so on and so on. So the more this happens, the more the developers will feel like it's gonna be a worthwhile investment to make their game a VR game instead of just a straight PC game. Yeah. Because the adoption rate will go up.
When they stop making games for PC and only make games for VR is when I'll probably stop playing games. Because
I can't imagine it'll completely go away.
It will eventually.
PC games.
I mean, it did with arcade games.
Sure. Yeah, it's true. Like, think about it too. It's not just arcade games. It's like phones kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like at the rate that technology advances, for fuck's sakes, I can play Genshin Impact on my phone, and it was a functional game. At some point, this big bulky PC that's sitting right next to you is gonna fit in a very small form factor, and it's only gonna get smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure there will be still a niche of somebody who's keeping a big bulky PC next to them because they want to freaking, crack passwords
and also for the same reason that people still keep arcade cabinets around is for nostalgia. And that's the thing is the only reason why people make new arcade cabinets is to recapture that nostalgia, and the only reason that arcade cabinets still exist at all is to allow people to recapture that nostalgia at home. And so
what's crazy too is that I'm pretty sure the mobile gaming industry is bigger than the PC gaming industry right now.
I would not be surprised.
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. I don't know if there's been a report or study on such a subject. I'm pretty sure the data is out there already, but I would not be surprised in the slightest if they said that the mobile gaming industry was or is it is bigger and more profitable than the PC gaming industry.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
you're
might
going to
be.
see a shift. we're just going to see a shift. Sure, maybe not with handheld phones. Maybe it will be more like with, maybe tablets are going to be like what the big gaming thing is going to be in the future. My little cousin who got me into Genshin Impact, she doesn't own a gaming PC. She plays Genshin Impact on her tablet, and I was watching her play, and the game runs just as well on her tablet as on my PC. It was amazing witnessing that shit. There was no artifacting, there was no downscaling. If I were to put the freaking tablet next to my monitor, the game would look exactly the same. The only difference is the refresh rate, but that's it. But that's what the little kids are playing in right now. They're not playing on big bulky PCs that they can't afford. They're playing on tablets.
Yeah.
And then when they become adults, when they become 20 something and they start getting jobs and getting income, they're probably not going to get a big bulky PC. They're going to be like, now I can afford a better tablet, and they're just going to keep playing more Genshin Impact or more Honkai Impact or whatever hot mobile game is the boss right now.
Yeah, that is true.
So so shit is changing constantly, and it is changing towards the mobile market for sure. So I don't think PCs are going to be leaving us anytime soon, but they're definitely not going to be king for long.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting.
If it's not the mobile, it's probably going to be VR. I agree with Tuli on that end, but it's one of the two.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I don't know. I mean, I am actually not so sure that that the idea of PC gaming will ever die. At least not until VR is way more accessible. Because part of the problem, and I said it mostly as a joke, but part of the reason why is because VR is not accessible for me, and I know a bunch of people like me where VR is not accessible. Where it's like I can sit down and I can play a game for a couple of hours. My maximum time on a VR headset is under 5 minutes right now. And it will probably stay that way for a very long time. And so the reality is that until they figure out how to minimize nausea for people like me, how they, start making solutions for rapid eye movement, because that's what really gets me every time is I move my eyes too quickly and then everything is off kilter and VR headsets make me feel nauseous. And so... yeah, and I mean, it's a reflex that's so big for me now that I can't even stop it. Like, I just can't.
No, I think that's more like... I'm sure technology will help you with that stuff eventually.
Eventually.
It's more like you kind of have to get used to it, too.
Yeah.
I used to get dizzy on VR headsets, too, and eventually I got
Well, that's the thing. I don't get dizzy.
VR chat like 4 hours at a time.
I don't get dizzy. I just get nauseous. Like, it's not like I'm trying to stand up. I'm not dizzy. I just feel like I'm going to vomit the whole time. So, yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Could not even imagine.
Yeah, so, and I know quite a few people who have other issues where VR is not accessible physically for them. And so I think that those hurdles will have to be overcome first. And so, yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting. I don't know.
Yeah. I think 15 years from now, I think mobile gaming will take over for sure.
It might.
I think it already kind of is. I mean, look at the shift that the big... like, in a sense, the writing is already on the wall. There's already AAA companies making mobile games.
Yeah.
Freaking Call of Duty, Call of Duty's on the phone right now. And there's more people playing Call of Duty on the phone than people playing Call of Duty on any console or PC.
Yeah, League...
That's a fact.
League is also doing the same thing. I don't even know if they already made it or if they're making it or whatever, but, like, they made a mobile port for League of Legends, or are making one. Where it's basically League but on your phone.
So you can be a loser anyway.
Yeah, so you can be a loser anyway, exactly.
You can be a cringe nerd while touching grass at the same time.
Yeah.
I can touch grass and be the saltiest motherfucker on the planet.
I don't want to, though.
Can't wait.
I only just saw ads for it and went not interested, and I clicked the not interested button, and I haven't seen one since. But yeah, I mean, I think mobile games could be the future, or I mean, I don't know. It could be that it's the big screen continues to be, or at least the idea of having something that is.
Well,
I would imagine it would be things like the
the
Switch and the Steam Deck is what takes over.
I don't think that necessarily that PC gaming is gonna die, because again, look at console gaming. Console gaming's been out there since the beginning, of the rise of the video game industry, and it's still there. People are still going crazy trying to buy the PS5. People are still going crazy when a new Nintendo console comes out.
It is true.
So it's not going anywhere. My point is more about who's going to be holding the crown, at the end of the day, more than if anything's going to die or not.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see if more games, obviously, VR chat, for example, is accessible from PC. You don't have to have a VR headset to play it. But it'll be interesting if they start making more PvP games, or not really PvP, but at least interactable games where VR users can interact with PC users and add more functionality to that.
That is a big thing. People playing Murder, people playing the Among Us clone and VR chat. Those are like the most popular things that people are doing on VR chat right now.
Yeah.
Could you imagine, later in the future, it's like that's the big thing that people are playing. It's like some social game on their VR headsets in their room, instead of sitting down with their computers playing Call of Duty or League of Legends or whatever the hell. It's instead they're playing like Monopoly on the VR headset.
Yeah. Or
that would be cool.
Social manipulation.
First person Monopoly.
Werewolf.
First person Monopoly.
Yeah, first person Monopoly. Oh my god. But yeah,
run around the board.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. It's interesting. We're in an interesting time. The gaming industry probably can and probably will go several ways, and we'll see what ends up on top. But yeah,
hey, in all likelihood, society will collapse, and
fair.
Progress will be made in gaming.
That is the cynic point of view, and I'll agree.
Yeah.
We'll probably
see.
Collapse.
If I do get nuked over here in New York City, I'll make sure to send you guys a text message. You'll be the first ones to know.
I appreciate it. That would be lovely.
Yeah.
How much warning do they give you before the new kids?
Yes.
Not enough.
No, we're screwed. I do have a basement, so I guess if they do nuke the city, I would be a few kilometers away.
That's not going to help
but
you.
It's the fallout that's what's going to.
You'll still get radiation poisoning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all still going to die if someone starts shooting nukes off.
That is true.
Absolutely. But at least I won't die on the blast. I'll slowly die of cancer. That'll be a lot much more fun.
Well, it probably won't even get to cancer.
Vaporized. We'll see.
You'll just get radiation poisoning. Cancer takes too long. Your organs will just start shutting down. There's a difference.
Listen, Fallout 4 trained me for moments like this. I am ready.
Yeah, you're ready to go drink Coca-Cola.
I know how to make a rifle. I know how to make a rifle out of planks and a tooth and 2 fucking bolts.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Fallout trained you well.
Next time on the podcast, Fallout rifles.
Fallout rifles.
Super mutants. Bro, I live with super mutants as is.
I'll be the super mutant. I'll be the boss.
Oh no.
Look at me. I'm the super mutant now. Oh my god.
Right.
Fallout.
What are we doing now, fellas?
Have you guys played any Fallout games?
I have played.
I have not.
I have not.
Oh my god. I have a story.
Okay. Go for it. What's your story?
About the first time I played a Fallout game. The first time I played a Fallout game, it was Fallout New Vegas. Right?
All right.
And I was going through the tutorial. I was having fun. And then the tutorial ends, and the game is like, all right, now fuck off, go do whatever it is you want to do. And I was sitting there on edge. I left the starting town and stared at the Nevada desert, and it was quiet. It was eerie, and I was honestly scared. I was 16 and I was a little on edge, and then I stepped forwards, trying to, see where is it that I was going, because the game didn't tell me where to go. I had to figure it out on my own. Mm-hmm. And I stepped on a mine, and it scared the absolute living shit out of me. And I went from a feeling of eeriness to a feeling of dread. And what did I do? I closed the game and didn't open it again for 3 years.
Of course.
Because I was that scared.
Of course.
Of Fallout New Vegas. It's not even a horror game. But I don't know what it was. At the time I didn't know what it was, but now I know what it is. It's ambience. It's the tone that really got to me.
Yeah.
I tried again 3 years later after I finished high school, and it was the same feeling. I was on that desert, in that highway, staring at nothing but a fucking brown landscape. And I was ready to quit the game and just never play a Fallout game anymore. But instead, I fiddled around with the settings, and I found, and here's the funny bit, that the character's handheld, like this watch kind of thing that covers your entire race. The Pip-Boy arm. The Pip-Boy has a radio. So I turned the radio on, and when the music started kicking in and the soundtrack started blasting, all of a sudden, this desert did not feel that scary.
Yep.
Something about just having a little bit of music there calmed me enough that I could play the game normally.
Welcome to the crazy world of human psychology.
Yeah.
That is like...
And that's when I realized, holy crap, I am a lot more susceptible to these kind of things than I thought I was.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge bitch.
Welcome to Horror Game 101 on that one, because that's the thing, is make it silent, make it spooky. That's the thing about Outlast that will get you. That's the thing, is there's a bunch of horrendous,
I don't play scary games.
There's a bunch of horrendous and awful stuff that will happen if you play the Outlast games, and it'll all happen to you, and it's scary and it's bad. But you know what the worst part about Outlast is? It is not. It is absolutely not when you're being chased by some giant monster through a hallway. The scariest part in Outlast is when you're walking through a dead silent hallway next to a wheelchair, and you're like, something fucked is about to happen. It's not the fucked thing that's happening to you. It's the anticipation of it. And Outlast does such a good job, because there's some ambient music that plays at times, and then something really terrible is about to happen when the music just is gone. And it's just dead silence, and you can just hear your footsteps and your breathing, and it's so fucking scary. I great.
Cannot deal with that shit.
Games where you can hear your heartbeat is the most fucked shit.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
That's so unnerving.
It's true.
Oh my god. The worst part of this whole thing is that my girlfriend at the time, she loved scary games. She loved playing Outlast. And she was streaming Outlast, and I'm like, I can't. I can't watch you play this game. I am so scared.
Outlast is so good, though,
dude. My god. The worst part is that we were playing VR chat at the time, and she caught wind of this little map that came out in VR chat called The Devouring.
Oh, God.
Have you heard of The Devouring?
Yes, I have.
What
sounds scary.
You
I don't know.
So, for those that don't know, The Devouring is a map or an adventure-style experience in VR chat. It's more similar to a big escape the room kind of mansion horror thing that you have to solve puzzles and continue. But it's so fucking scary, especially the first time around. I couldn't leave the starting room. I was hugging every corner, picking every corner, and my girlfriend was having fun, just having a blast. And I'm like, no, I can't. And she forced me to play this shit, and my god, I was sweating bullets the entire time. But I beat it. I beat it with her after 4 hours.
Nice.
Which is 2 more hours than the average playtime for that map. But fuck me, man.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I don't date that girl anymore, so I don't have to put myself through any of
There
this.
you go. Yeah, no.
Hey, I've never been good with horror games. Like, I couldn't even play zombie survival servers in Minecraft when I was in middle school. I would get scared, but I would do it anyways because it was fun. But I would be scared shitless the entire time.
Horror games are my
I fucking
favorite.
hate the fact that the game developers got to the point where they learned that their games are a lot more scarier when they don't give the players a way to fight back the monster. Fuck that.
Oh, it's
because
great.
Zombie games, I can play that shit. I love playing Killing Floor. Killing Floor is one of my favorite games of all time. Especially the original Killing Floor. And yeah, to some degree, Dead Island. Some Sobek mentions in chat. So when you can fight back, it's a lot less scary.
Yeah.
But then some developer caught wind that their games are a lot scarier if they don't let people fight back. And ever since then, every fucking horror game has some aspect about a monster that you really can't fight, but rather have to survive instead. I cannot play any of those horror games
Or
to save my life.
you just can't fight the monsters ever, like Outlast.
Ever, yeah.
Where it's like they'll
Okay,
all
here's
just
the
murder
thought.
you.
Is it scarier in the game where the monster never catches you, or games where the monster's constantly catching you? Like,
Never catches you.
It's
exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
It
It's a delicate
becomes
balance,
unnerving
sure.
rather than just irritating that you have to do sections over and over.
Yeah. Phasmophobia.
Like, when you don't know what the
for
constant...
example.
Yeah.
Getting killed in
Oh, yeah, that's
Phasmophobia
another game.
absolutely loses its terror in like the first 5 times you
after the
die.
first time.
Like,
Yeah.
it's a little bit scary, and then you just insult the ghost. But what's great about Outlast is Outlast did a really good job in 1 and 2 of making sections difficult enough that you do get caught and you do get jump scared, even though like you can avoid getting jump scared in those areas if you play it right. But it does a good job of balancing difficulty with that. So like very few times did I ever become frustrated playing the Outlast games. Very few times did I feel like I was stuck and just ramming my head into a wall. Same exact thing with Little Nightmares. Little Nightmares does a really good job of that too.
Why are you mentioning all the games that my girlfriend forced me to play with?
Sorry.
Relive your trauma.
Yeah, reliving trauma.
Right,
I mention these because they're like
Actually.
really good games.
They are though.
And so they do a really good job of balancing that difficulty with balancing the good difficulty with horror. So it doesn't become boring, and you don't like the jump scares don't just stop becoming scary, because eventually you move past them and you get new enemies and new jump scares. So yeah, I think they did a good job. Those are probably 2 of my favorite horror games. I'm a big fan of horror games, so I play them quite often.
I personally think Little Nightmares 2 was way worse than Little Nightmares 1 in terms of horror.
I agree.
Like worse in the good sense. Worse in the good sense.
Yeah, I agree. I think Little Nightmares 2 was way better than Little Nightmares 1. I also think that the platforming in Little Nightmares 2 was a lot better than that in 1 too. I think they did a lot more creative things, and I think that's just how it is, because like they're learning to build the game, and each successive game gets better and better as they get more tools and they get more knowledge and they get more skill.
That's what
So,
what a sequel should be.
yeah.
That's what it was. No, unlike a lot of like sequels where they just copy pastes of the original.
Right.
But we finally have seen that shift in the gaming industry where people where the developers and publishers start seeing sequels as actual sequels instead of just money grabs.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is great.
So I'm glad to see that stuff. Now that I think about it, it's actually quite good. You know, that we are getting those good sequels finally. Also, of course, we still get like the cash grabs. Like the biggest one would be Battlefield 2042.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we don't have to say much more about that
Yeah.
one. But it's good to see that there are good developing studios out there making video games that are successful and then capitalizing on it and making an even better sequel, like Little Nightmares 2 was.
Yeah.
Like that is inspiring, and it fills me with hope that, you know, it's not just about the money for the game developers anymore. There's still about the art form that is to create a video game.
I agree. All right, change of topic real quick. What is everybody's favorite game genre? This is actually a good question.
I mentioned it already, but it's first-person shooter.
Yeah.
And RPGs.
RPGs.
Fun.
What? For me, it's
more RPG now.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Sorry.
Toss up between RPGs and I guess management games like Civ
City
and
Management.
Fucking Frostpunk is one of my favorite examples.
Yeah,
I love Frostpunk.
I get you.
One of my favorite games.
Yeah. Okay. Question for Holic. What classification of RPG? Like JRPG, ARPG, MMO?
ARPG by far.
Okay.
ARPG by far because I started with Diablo, but ever since Diablo 3 and Path of Exile, there hasn't really been anything that scratched that itch for me. And now that there is Diablo 2 Reforged, I still haven't gone back to playing that because I've been so busy playing Genshin Impact instead.
Right.
But honestly, after playing Genshin Impact, that I don't know, man. That's such a game changer for me, pun intended.
Right.
So I don't know. I think I've toned, especially with games like Fallout, New Vegas, games that are more story driven. I've definitely swapped to that RPG kind of RPGs that tell compelling and interesting stories.
Yeah.
About people in shit situations trying to make the best that they can do, or just a good fucking story about a fucking guy slaying a dragon. Sometimes that's all you need.
True.
Especially now that I've gotten more into like D&D and stuff like that.
Right.
I've really gotten more into the storytelling part of the role-playing genre.
Have you played Hades?
But I have.
Okay.
I have.
Hades is fucking amazing.
It's a good game.
I'm so fucking good at that game. I play it on the hardest difficulty and I do only the hardest runs that I can. Because I'm a god at that game, pun intended. And I played that. I 100%ed it as soon as I could, and it took me what? Let me see how many hours. Oh, I had to log into my Steam.
I want to 100% Hades.
So good.
I don't have the time. I don't have the time.
I have 37 out of 49 achievements. I have 75% at Hades.
You know what's a game that I rarely had the time to play when I wanted to play it, but now that I played it for a little bit, I can't think of playing it, is Maple Story.
I was never able to get into Maple Story. I played it for like 20 minutes and was like, why is this so popular?
Oh my god, dude, I'm so glad that I didn't play Maple Story back in the day, because if I had, I know I would have gotten hooked on that. I played it. I actually started playing Maple Story 2 when that game was, still a game. Now it's closed down. It's such a shame because that game was so fun. But playing Maple Story 2 made me play Maple Story 1.
I know too many.
And I can tell you right now,
Maple Story kids who stole their parents' credit cards.
Oof.
That's like a common thing apparently, because Maple Story was like, it's not a gacha game obviously, because I got corrected the other day and gacha only refers to games that there's an RNG element in, but it definitely was a cash grab game, a microtransaction heavy game, even early, and apparently
it was cosmetics, it was characters.
Apparently
there's no RNG in both, but you did have to spend money.
A lot of kids stole their parents' credit cards to buy stuff in Maple Story, and I was like, I'm glad I never, got to that point in my life of stealing other people's money to pay for my video game stuff. So, yeah, it's interesting. My favorite genre is definitely horror. I definitely am. I'm a sucker for a good horror game. I think I've played most.
Speaking of horror games, Tully, didn't they release that new trailer for the remake of Dead Space?
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be really good.
They released it on the same show that I was talking about earlier, where Witchfire was
I think they did. I'm pretty excited about it. Dead Space is going to be good. Have you played Prey? I want to play Prey. I haven't been able to play it yet. Has anybody else here played Prey?
I've seen my friends play Prey. You should play it.
Prey and Alien Isolation are two games that I want to play, and I want to play on stream.
Oh my god!
Because I don't want to.
I hope I never, ever in my life ever get to play Alien Isolations. I don't want to play that game. I don't want to see that game. I don't want to smell that game.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to make you play.
I was barely able to watch playthroughs of Alien Isolation. It was so unnerving. Watching someone else play it scared me.
Yeah. FNAF I'm really excited about too. All the FNAF stuff. It's going to be good. They're making another FNAF game.
I don't like jump scares. I like being unnerved, but I don't like being jump scared.
Yeah. I don't like anything. Fuck.
I like creepy ambiance. I like gothic horror, not straight up horror.
So you just like vampires.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. That explains why you like V Rising.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I dole out the little sucky.
Oh my god. I was talking with another friend. I went and had lunch with a friend on Thursday, and I was talking with him about V Rising. And I always found survival games where you really only have like one resource really to worry about, where it's like everything else is extraneous and unnecessary, kind of like DST, Don't Starve Together, where it's like, yeah, you do kind of have to worry about food and water and stuff like that, but
if you know what you're doing, it's never a problem.
Yeah, but your sanity you always have to keep an eye on no matter what, because it's like, oh god, I could go crazy at any moment basically. And
well, that's the thing is, I've been big into Don't Starve. I've actually played it when it first came out, and before Don't Starve Together came out.
Yeah.
Sanity, once you get into the game and you get more involved into like being competitionist, you start realizing that having low sanity is not as big of a deal.
No, not low, but like you constantly have to micromanage it, because if you run out, obviously game over. And I've always found that interesting.
No, you don't die. You don't die. You can be at low sanity. You can be at zero sanity. What happens instead is just a bunch of monsters show up and try to kill you every now and then. But that's it. It's like, well, once you get to a point where you have armor, gear, a base, you don't care.
Okay.
Sanity,
maybe I just never got that far into the game because everyone I played Don't Starve Together would stop playing with me. And I joined it too late, kind of thing, because I wasn't really gaming at the time. But yeah, I think it's interesting, because I've always found games where one resource is really managed, like Bloodborne too. Like Bloodborne's very similar in that way, where it's like your health bar is kind of everything, and you just gotta manage that. The Elder Souls games with the health bar, but Elden Ring and Dark Souls. But with those, they also have mana, but mana is less important, obviously, than health. But I've always found it interesting.
No, it's far more important.
Shut up, you magic nerd. Yeah.
I'm holding a deck of magic cards on my hand right now, shuffling as we speak.
Listen, the only proper way to play Elden Ring or Dark Souls is the biggest sword you can find, in my opinion.
Try hard.
The only way to play. And slow rolls. Just learn to work with slow rolls.
What is wrong with you?
Everything.
Oh no.
Anyways,
he's one of those guys.
That's how I play Monster Hunter. I just run around with a big ass hammer.
Yeah.
Consumables, no. Hammer, yes.
Hammer, yes. Exactly.
Hammer.
I don't want to have to use my health flask in Dark Souls. I just want to roll and swing sword. Anyways, so I've always found games like that. I found a game at one point where it was like the only resource you had was your health bar, and it was everything.
Okay.
So like all of your spells that you could cast, it was like a top-down kind of RPG-ish thingy, but it's like all the spells that you cast would eat away at your health bar. and then you had to do specific things and go to certain areas to rebuild your health bar. And it's very interesting. It's very fascinating. Like that's just one resource management thing. And that's all you had to worry about was just the one resource, but they made it really difficult. And I think that's really interesting to me. I find it way more interesting than games where it's like, I have to think about 9 million different resources, like Civilization, where it's like in Civilization, I just go full militaristic and just die. Late game versus
I mean,
players.
you can successfully play Civ only focusing on one resource.
Yeah. And my resource is people to make soldiers out of. To then go attack other people with my soldiers. It's the one resource I manage.
Civ 6, the way to cheese the game is pure faith and indoctrinate everyone on the planet.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
Just beat everyone with religious pressure.
That is true. That is definitely, I would even argue that is probably the optimal way to play Civilization 6.
It's
religion.
Too easy when you do it that way.
It is. At one point when I used to play with another set of our friends, I was banned from focusing on religion by two of my friends who I was playing with. Because they weren't keeping track of that because both of them were going for, I don't remember what they were going for. I think one of them was going for science, one of them was going for culture, and then I just like dark horse out of nowhere and won on religious victory. And they were like, "What the fuck has been happening this whole time?" And I'm like, "Look at the religion graph. I have converted every other nation except you two on the map to my religion. That's how I won." And they're like, "What the fuck? How?" Because I specifically avoided their territories when pushing my religion.
Nice.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. But yes, Civilization 6 is a fun game, but it's definitely not very balanced. But
no, not at all.
It's not really supposed to be, I think, because it's like RTS. RTSs are rarely balanced.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I'm a fan of RTS games too.
There's a sim buildings city building game, indie game that came out a long time ago, 5, 6, maybe 7 years ago, called Banished. And it never caught on. It never had like.
I played Banished a ton. That's one of my most played games.
And that's what I was gonna get to. It is also one of my most played.
It's difficult as fuck.
It is super tough. It's so tough that me, like somebody who's been playing gaming since he was 6, and goes ham on RTS games all the time, like StarCraft and fucking Brood Wars, stuff like that. I was like, I have to turn disasters off. Like, I can't have a tornado come in and just destroy my entire village. I get too emotionally involved, man. I cannot let the Johnson family's freaking house burned up in flames out of nowhere. I can't, man. But what I will say is that I play that so much because when there is a time where I have to, like, de-stress and relax before I do something horrible to myself, I launch Banished, and I just disappear for the next 5 hours, and I come out so happy, like nothing ever happened. That game is like my happy place, I will say. If anybody has a video game that's like that, that's my game. That's my happy place. Is this
in college
called Banished?
In college, especially during like test weeks when I would need to decompress, I would play games like Banished for days straight. Like, yeah, it was extremely unhealthy. Like, I wouldn't eat for a full 48 hours, and I wouldn't get up from my computer.
If you
play a 2-day game.
If you think time travel doesn't exist, you haven't played Banished.
Do you want to know?
Because you will launch that game, and all of a sudden, it's next week.
The most helpful review of this game on Steam says this: great game. I shall list the difficulty of the in-game difficulties as ranked from easiest to hardest. 1 medium, 2 hard, 3 easy. So apparently easy is the hardest game mode to play.
What happens is sometimes in that game you would get immigrants walk into your town and ask for them to become citizens of your town.
And then suddenly everyone starves.
Yeah, exactly. Because if your resources are spended evenly across, your food spent evenly across your entire population. So if you take in too many people at once, and you don't have the food reserves for it, and you click yes and accept them, you can't go back anymore. You will have people starve. And once people start dying, it sets off a chain reaction of depression and sadness that you can't stop. And then the whole 5-hour playthrough is ruined.
Yeah.
At that point. So
also,
in easy, it for some reason it's more common to get more immigrants than it is on medium and hard. So that's
also I always love seeing reviews like this. Non-valid, played Banished for 3,347 hours. A review of the game?
It's all right.
Pretty all right, period.
It's okay.
Pretty all right.
One of the big things about Banished is that there is no win condition. It is just survive until you can't anymore.
Yeah.
So you can just keep playing forever.
Also,
you play forever.
What I like about this review is, first of all, this person has played 290 hours in the past 2 weeks. Nice. And Banished is the only game they've reviewed.
It's alright. It's okay, I guess.
Yeah.
That's a little much. I think they've done everything.
It's 5 out of 10.
I give it a solid 6.
I've only played it for, years worth of my time. Jesus. Apparently there's a big modding community around it, too.
Yeah, the mods are amazing.
Moddable.
Cool.
Especially if you want to make it less hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the buildings make more food now.
As far as if you turn disasters off, I think you're fine. The game's not that hard. It's when you leave disasters on that's when the game gets really, really painful.
Makes sense.
Anyways, another game that I'm scared shitless to ever lay my hands on is Factorio, because I see that game and I know what I'll do is I'll play that game and then I'll be that guy who will play for 400 hours in 2 weeks, have no sleep, no food, no nothing, and then that's it. That's my life for the next 2 weeks, and I'll talk to no one. I'll not stream. I'll not do anything. I'll not even brush my teeth. I'll just be playing that game forever until literally my body tells me that I need to take sunlight or I'll shut down and die. So I'm just scared to play that game.
Factorio is a dangerous one, especially if you get addicted to games like Banished. That's another one I've definitely played for multiple days straight.
I learned from Banished that I need to be careful with games like that. That's why I didn't play the game that you mentioned earlier, the one about
Frostpunk?
the winter frost. Yeah.
Frostpunk.
Frostpunk
is harder to sink thousands of hours on end into because the games end. Usually with your death, it's a very hard game.
Yeah.
But each scenario has an end. There is an endless mode, but most of the ways you play it, you finish after 3-4 hours.
Wasn't there also a survival, a zombie swarming city sim building like that too? I forget the name of that one. There Are Billions. That's the name of it.
There Are Billions?
I've never tried. I've heard of that. I've never tried it.
That sounds more interesting to me.
Admiral Baru played the crap out of that, and I will always watch him play There Are Billions. And it looks very, very, very fun, but it's also one of those games that I need to not touch if I want to keep whatever semblance of social life I have left in me.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I like it. Picasso. My experience with Frostpunk was watching what was that guy? It's the guy who also does the Spore YouTube videos. He's really funny.
funny guy making videos on the internet.
Yeah, about Spore. He has like 4 videos on Spore, and he's like the only huge content creator I think who's ever done a serious gameplay thing on Spore. He makes a lot of penises in it.
Who's ever played Spore seriously?
You never played Spore seriously?
I've heard people go ham on that game, for sure. Anyway.
I played Spore seriously. My brother and I used to play Spore when I was like, I was older. I was like 17. And he and I would sit down and do the most atrocious things. It was funny. It's like when I first built my computer. It was one of the games I played.
Were you the person who played Spore trying to make friends with everyone in the last like space session, and then you made friends with the evil people and then everyone else hated you?
Yes.
That was you, right?
Yeah. That is me. That is correct. I was the most diplomatic in the universe. And then I was so diplomatic that I made friends with the universe's worst enemy. And then the whole universe turned against me, but it was fine because I was friends with the universe's worst enemy and they're like the strongest creatures. And so they defended me. Okay. And it was great. And then literally we wiped out like half the universe. It was horrifying and wonderful. I dropped a bunch of nukes because it turns out that they don't care if you turn other planets into balls of slag. So yeah, it's really funny. As long as
it's not their planet.
Yeah, as long as it's not one of their planets, they don't care. They don't get mad at you for destroying other civilizations because they do it all the time. So in Spore, you know how you can use the molten bombs to turn planets into balls of lava? Late game? I don't know if anybody else.
I've never played.
I've never got to late game.
Okay, so late game, you start terraforming planets, and you can literally turn them into balls of lava if you do it wrong. And when you do that to a, inhabited planet, everything on it dies. And so you can do it intentionally to wipe out other civilizations, but the galaxy starts to hate you if you do that. Everyone, except apparently the people who hate you to begin with, who are like the enemies in the main game, and they're like the big bad guy, and you're not supposed to make friends with them, but you can. Like, you can just talk to them. So I spent like hours upon hours befriending them, turning them into my allies. And then once I made them my friend, everyone hated me except for them. But then it didn't matter because I could terraform all of the enemies' planets, all of my new enemies' planets into balls of molten slag. And these people wouldn't get mad at me. Yeah, because they're my friend. Yeah. They're excellent. They're a real friend. They'll help you hide the bodies.
Real friends don't mind when you destroy other planets.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They just help you hide the bodies.
I need to use the bathroom.
Okay.
It's probably going to take me more than 5 minutes, so maybe you want to call it here? Or
yeah, let's call it here. Holic, before you go take a whiz, where can we find you?
Before I go and do number 2, I need you guys can find me on twitch.tv/Halic25. And I have a Discord, which you can also find on said channel.
Awesome.
That's an open invite there.
Excellent.
I'm trying to get into Twitter, but
yeah.
Every time that I launch Twitter, I also happen to launch Genshin Impact at the same time. So yeah, that doesn't get very far.
I can see.
And that's about it.
Your addiction is showing. Anyways, awesome. All right, well, everybody go follow Holic on his Twitch, and yeah, please stick around. Ender, where can we find you if you want to mention?
You can't.
Okay.
I am not a content creator.
Sounds good.
You can hit me up on Discord if you want to, I guess.
Okay.
I'm in
it's just a dude
Discord servers.
Things in the internet.
Great. Awesome.
Join my Christian Minecraft server. No.
Oh no.
Lovely.
Where can we find you?
You can find me here. Obviously, this airs live on twitch.tv/Cthulhu Tilly. Several weeks per month, several Saturdays per month, and then it airs on twitch.tv/Holic25 on several weeks per month. So we've been doing this weekly, and you can also find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Discord at Cthulhu Tilly. And yeah, you can also join my Discord channel, which is also linked below in the Twitch, as well as all the videos. Holic's Twitch and Discord are also linked below, all the videos and all the podcasts. So please go follow him, join our Discords, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, guys.
Goodbye.
Bitches.
Oh dear.
Please don't put a horror game in front of me.
I won't. Okay. We can stop recording on Audacity now.
Bye.
We appreciate you listening to Chatting in the Void with Cthulhu, Tilly, and Holic. You can find a video version of our podcast on YouTube and our audio podcast anywhere where podcasts are found. Go give Holic a follow at twitch.tv/Holic25 and catch our podcast live at 7 p.m. EST most Saturdays. Have a wonderful day, or night, or whatever. Thank you for joining us in the Void. Hope to see you next time.